Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Clinical Studies Made Simple. I'm your host, Austin, with Launch Medical. Okay, so today we're gonna be analyzing the IIEF. What is that? Well, it's the answer to how healthy your erections are. Okay, isn't that something you'd like to know? Wouldn't you like to know how healthy your erections are, how good your sexual performance is? This test is going to tell you all. So pay attention, and if you want to know your erectile health, your erection health, and your sexual performance score, I want you to follow along with me and do this questionnaire with me, okay? It's 15 questions. Now, why am I doing this? I'm doing this because a lot of the studies that measure erection health and shockwave treatments, actually, what they do is they measure a guy's erections using this score, okay? And in fact, most studies actually do this. So this score is actually very important because it measures how well an sexual performance treatment is, like low-intensity shock therapy, like what the Rocket does. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to do this questionnaire right now. You're going to be able to find out right now, hopefully within 15 minutes or less, if your erections are healthy or not, or what their score is, okay? So follow along with me if you want to open up a different tab or an email, if you want to jot down your little answers. We're going to add up the score at the end, and we're going to determine what your erection health score is, okay? So these questions, there's 15 questions, and they're rated on a scale of 0 to 5. 0 being the absolute worst, 5 being the best, okay? You ready? Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Cool. Question number 1. How often were you able to get an erection during sexual activity? Now again, 0 is no sexual activity, 1 is almost never, 2 is a few times. If you scored 5, almost always or always. So again, the question number 1 is, how often were you able to get an erection during sexual activity? Okay, go ahead and write that down, scale of 0 to 5. Question number 2, when you had erections with sexual stimulation, how often were your erections hard enough for penetration? Were they hard enough 100% of the time? Give yourself a 5. If you have almost no sexual activity, give yourself a 0, or if it's almost never, give yourself a 1. Again, when you had erections with sexual stimulation, how often were your erections hard enough for penetration? Scale is 0 to 5. Okay, go ahead, write it down. Question number 3. When you attempted intercourse, how often were you able to penetrate your partner? Okay, 0 to 5. Right? 0 to 5. When you attempted intercourse, how often were you able to penetrate your partner? 5 is always, 0 is never. Okay? Question number 4. During sexual intercourse. By the way, guys, keep score, okay? Keep score. We're going to add this up at the end. Question number 4. During sexual intercourse, how often were you able to maintain your erection after you penetrated your partner? 5 is always, 0 is never. Okay, go ahead and write that down. Question 5. During sexual intercourse, how difficult was it to maintain your erection to completion of intercourse? During sexual intercourse, how difficult was it to maintain that erection? Okay, 5 is not difficult at all. 0 is extremely difficult. Question number 5, one more time. During intercourse, how difficult was it for you to maintain that erection? If it was extremely difficult, put a 1 or a 0. Not difficult at all, put a 5. All right, cool. Let's move on. Question number 6. How many times have you attempted sexual intercourse? How many times have you attempted sexual intercourse? And that's a weird, wacky question. If you attempt sexual intercourse 11 or more times, put a 5 down. Okay, I don't know where that question came from, but we're going to do it anyway because that's what all these international studies do. Okay, so how many times have you attempted sexual intercourse? If it's more than 11, put a 5 down. Okay, if you've never attempted it, put a 0 down. Cool, awesome. Thanks, International Index. A little bonus 5 points for you right there. Question number 7. When you attempted sexual intercourse, how often was it satisfactory to you? How often was it satisfactory? If it's almost always or always satisfactory, put a 5. If it's almost never satisfactory, put a 1. Okay, scale is 0 to 5. When you attempted sexual intercourse, how often was it satisfactory for you? Question number 8. Hope you guys are still with me, okay? There's only 15 questions. We're almost halfway done, okay? Question number 8. Oh, by the way, I hope you're keeping score, okay? Keep score. You're going to make this video worth it. Question number 8. How much have you enjoyed sexual intercourse? Similar, but answer it anyway. 0 to 5. How much have you enjoyed sexual intercourse? Okay, I'm putting a 5. Question number 9. When you had sexual stimulation or intercourse, When you've had sexual stimulation or intercourse, how often did you ejaculate? So 1 is almost never, and 5 is almost always or always. Okay, go ahead and answer that. Question number 10. We're almost done, guys. When you had sexual stimulation or intercourse, how often did you have the feeling of orgasm or climax? So basically, if you've had sex, how often do you climax, right? 5 almost always, 1 almost never. Question number 11. How often have you felt sexual desire? How often have you felt sexual desire? On a scale of 1 to 5, 5 is almost always or always, 1 is almost never. Okay, how often have you felt sexual desire? I am putting a 5 down. Question 12. How would you rate your level of sexual desire on a scale of 1 to 5? 5 is very high, 1 is very low or none at all. How would you rate your level of sexual desire? Okay, on a scale of 1 to 5, write that down. Question number 13, we're almost done. How satisfied have you been with your overall sex life? 5 is very satisfied, that little smug smile, and 1 is a frowny face. 1's a very dissatisfied, okay? How satisfied have you been with your overall sex life on a scale of 1 to 5? All right, question number 14. How satisfied have you been with your sexual relationship with your partner? How satisfied have you been with your sexual relationship with your partner? 5 is very satisfied, 1 is very dissatisfied. Scale of 1 to 10. Sorry, scale of 1 to 5. We're not doing 1 to 10, we're doing 1 to 5, all right? So again, question number 14. How satisfied have you been with your sexual relationship with your partner? Scale of 1 to 5, okay? Question number 15. How do you rate your confidence that you could get and keep an erection? Scale of 1 to 5. 5 is you are very, very confident you can get and keep an erection. 1 is not confident at all. Scale of 1 to 5, guys. All right, so now that we have all those questions, we're going to add them all up, all right? So just take a minute now, add up all of your points, because most of the questions are on a scale of 0 to 5. Some of the questions are on a scale of 1 to 5. It doesn't really matter, guys. Just add up the points. The 1 or 0 is not really going to make a difference if you're down there. But go ahead, take a minute, add up all those points, and we'll be right back. Hey guys, and we're back. So I hope you added up all of your scores. That's great. I hope you still have your numbers, all right? Because we're about to jump right into it, okay? So the way that your scores are calculated is there's actually 5 different sections, okay? And we're going to jump right into that right now. So there's sections A, B, C, D, and E. A, B, C, D, and E, okay? 5 different sections. And they all sort of measure different categories when it comes to your sex life, right? So the first thing we're going to measure, category A, is erectile function. Erectile function, this is probably the most important one, okay? So with erectile function, we're actually, I know that you calculated up all your answers. That's very, very, very good. I'm glad you did. But just for this section, erectile function, I want you to calculate your answers for questions 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then question number 15, okay? So I'm going to read those back to you while you're calculating that. So calculate up all your scores for questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 15, okay? If you're a 5 out of 5 on all 6 of those, your max score should be a 30, okay? So go ahead and calculate those scores. In case you somehow weren't keeping track or didn't write anything down, I'm about to repeat it back to you, okay? Question number 1, how often were you able to get an erection during sexual activity? Scale of 0 to 5, write it down. Question number 2, when you had erections with sexual stimulation, how often were your erections hard enough for penetration? Scale of 0 to 5, 5 being almost always or always, write it down. Question number 3, when you attempted intercourse, how often were you able to penetrate your partner? How often, guys? Scale of 0 to 5, write it down. Question number 4, during sexual intercourse, how often were you able to maintain your erection after you penetrated your partner? Scale of 0 to 5, write it down. Question number 5, during sexual intercourse, how difficult was it to maintain your erection during that whole time? 0 to 5, write it down. And then, of course, question number 15, how do you rate your confidence that you can get and keep your erection? Scale of 1 to 5, write it down. Add up all your scores, guys. Add up all your scores. There were 6 questions. If you scored a 5 out of 5 on all of them, you'd have a score of 30. You'd be in good health, okay? Once you calculate the scores, I'll give you a minute. You can pause the video, but all right, we're back. So patients, it says here, patients with low erectile function scores. Patients with low scores, what is a low score? Beneath 14. So if you scored a 14 or below, technically it's a very low score, and the rocket will help you with that, okay? But if you scored 15 or higher, if you scored a 15 or higher, the rocket's only going to make you better, okay? Like for example, for me, I'm young, obviously. I'm a 30 out of 30, but the Rocket just takes me to the next level, right? So if they were an extra 6 on all those questions, I'd write 6 down and have a much higher score, right? Because, whether, if you're not so good in bed, this will make you good. If you're already good in bed, this will make you great. If you're already great, it'll turn you into a Rocket Man, all right? Because that's what we all want. All right, moving on. Category B, orgasmic function. Okay, so orgasmic function. Those are questions 9 and 10. We're going to read them over again. Just 2 questions that we're testing. Question number 9. When you had sexual stimulation or intercourse, how often did you ejaculate? How often, guys? Scale of 0 to 5. How often? If you almost always ejaculate, cool, awesome, write down a 5. Question number 10. When you had sexual stimulation, how often did you have the feeling of orgasm or climax? So basically, if you have sex, how often do you climax, right? Scale of 0 to 5, right? So write those down. Basically, the higher the score, okay, great, everything's working down there. You're orgasming, ejaculation's fine, it's all good. If you're orgasming and not ejaculating, or if something's happening down there, if your score is really low, that's something you might want to get checked out, right? All right, moving on. C, sexual desire. Sexual desire, that's questions 11 and 12, okay? Let's jump right into them. If you weren't following along with the first half of the video, you can answer your questions now. Question 11. How often have you felt sexual desire? Scale of 1 to 5. How often have you felt sexual desire? Scale of 1 to 5, write it down. Question number 12. How would you rate your level of sexual desire? How would you rate your level of sexual desire? Scale of 1 to 5. 1 being very low, or 5 is very high, write it down, right? So if you don't really have that good of a sexual desire, you might want to get your testosterone checked along with some other hormones. So there are a lot of problems, a lot of misconstrued information. There's a lot of outdated information that's being taught in medical classes even today that you don't know what you don't know. So I know we had a lot of patients. Again, we run one of the largest and most successful ED clinics in North America, and a lot of guys, when they get the shockwave therapy done, completely fixes the plumbing downstairs, but they just don't have that desire, and that's because their doctor told them that their testosterone score of 400 was in range. That is actually incredibly low. And if you've been told that your testosterone is in range and it is below 650, you might want to get that checked out, okay? So if you want to learn the truth behind testosterone, learn the secrets that really aren't being told or taught, go to testosteronesecretsbook.com and pick up your book, Launch Medical. We wrote a book that exposes all those secrets. So again, testosteronesecretsbook.com. Let's keep going. D, intercourse satisfaction. Okay, questions 6, 7, and 8. We're going to do those again. Intercourse satisfaction, question number 6. How many times have you attempted sexual intercourse? Scale of 0 to 5. I put a 5 down because I have attempted to have sexual intercourse more than 5 times. Sorry, more than 11 times. Okay, so if you've attempted intercourse more than 11 times, write down a 5. Question number 7. When you attempted sexual intercourse, how often was it satisfactory to you? How often is it satisfactory to you? Scale of 0 to 5, write it down. Question number 8. How much have you enjoyed sexual intercourse? Scale of 0 to 5, write it down. Add those up. Okay, that was D. Add those up. It says here that if it is a low score, for that, if you aren't enjoying, sex, hopefully the Rocket can help with that, because if we improve your sexual performance, probably you and your partner are going to enjoy it a lot more. And then E, overall satisfaction. Questions 13 and 14. Okay, question 13. How satisfied have you been with your overall sex life? Scale 0 to 5. Write it down. And then question number 14. How satisfied have you been with your sexual relationship with your partner? Scale 0 to 5. Write it down. Add those up. Again, if it's low, hopefully the Rocket can help you, take back your manhood, get you the sex life you want again. Okay. If not, if you have great erections, but you're not enjoying sex, additional counseling might help. Okay. Those are outside of the Rocket's control. The whole point of the Rocket is to fix the plumbing downstairs. We want to make sure everything is working right and at optimum levels. Okay. Optimum performance. If there's other outside things influencing your sex life, like your relationship itself and other things like that, you might want to get those checked out. But otherwise, if with the Rocket, when it comes to the Rocket, if you're not so good in bed, this will take you to good. If you're good in bed, it'll take you to great. And then, of course, if you're great, it'll take you to Rockstar status or Rocketman status. All right, guys? All right, thanks for watching. That was Clinical Studies Made Simple. You just watched an in-depth video on the International Index of erectile function, IIEF. So if I'm ever referencing that again in another video, you know exactly what it is, and you now know exactly what your score is. And hopefully, I hope you come back to this video after you use the rocket, so you can retest your scores and see how well you improved. All right, thanks for watching, guys.
Hey, Rocketman, you're out there doing your research on low-intensity shockwave therapy, and you should be. That's fantastic. I want you to know that this type of technology has been widely used in Europe for over the last 20 years, and there are hundreds of clinical studies proving that it's safe and it's effective. But the problem is, only 1% of men can actually afford to do this type of treatment. 99% of the guys get left out, up until now. Launch Medical has developed a product called the Rocket that does the exact same thing that these expensive medical devices do, but in the privacy of your own home, and it's affordable. Who doesn't want that? So go to getmyrocket.com and pick yours up today, okay? That's getmyrocket.com.